Hi there, I'm Ben, a service technician here at Lichtsinn Motors. We're going to be going over today the Sprinter line here, our View Navions. A lot of them are going to be same floor plans. We are actually going to go over a J today, but a lot of this stuff will apply to your motorhome, whether you have any of the 4 floor plans. So just kind of keep an eye, and most of it's going to be the same. So we're going to start out here on the outside of the coach. Starting on the outside of the coach, up high, we have our marine grade speakers, which are up high. Don't worry about weather, any of that, because they can handle all that. We also have our LED porch light, which is up high there. The switch for that is right inside the door. First switch right when you walk in the door. Also up high, we also have our vent for our fridge. That's where we're going to exhaust all the LP fumes, everything, and that's also where we're transferring the heat. We got to get rid of the heat just as fast as we make the cold. Down below that is actually the service panel for the back of our fridge. There's 2 clips up high. One on the right, one on the left. And then we're just going to pull that open. Everything in here is service. No storage in here, nothing. Pretty much this is going to be, if you bring it to me, I'm going to get in there and work on it if you have a problem with the fridge. There is a plug-in on the left side here. If you ever have a problem, you can unplug it, disconnect power from that coach, or from that fridge. There is a little eye port here that we can look if we have our flame burning, which is here on the right side. Other than that, like I said, don't store anything in there. And the least amount of times you have to take this cover off, better, because if you don't get it clipped right, you will lose it going down the road. Clip, and just make sure it's secure if you do take it off. Down below that is our forced air LP furnace. So we have exhaust coming out the bottom, fresh air coming in the top. Be very careful when you lean up against that, because this is very hot. It will melt anything you pretty much lean up against there. Also a good idea, bug screens are a very good idea to put over the furnace nest so we don't get those wasps, mud daubers, any of those insects in their building nest. It's really bad for a furnace or a water heater because their nest can get so hard that it heats up so much that it will actually crack your exchangers. So good idea to put those on there. Beside that, it's our water heater, 6-gallon hot water heater. Flip that open. On the external here, we have our LP source right here is our burner. Above that is our potted board, which actually is just pretty much telling it to ignite and kind of watching out for all of our safety switches. Above that is our pressure regulator valve. So that's if the pressure gets too high in there, it will actually pop open, blow the water out, relieve pressure. If you ever see that valve weeping, it is a normal thing. If it does weep, the main thing to do is go inside, shut your water pump off, or kill any water source. Open this up until you don't get any more water coming out of it, and then let it slam closed, and that will take care of that weeping. Don't think you have a problem if it weeps. The manual itself will actually tell you it weeps, and it's a normal operation. Down below that is our nylon plug. That's how we are actually going to drain the water heater. That's for winterizing. Maybe you just want to clean your water heater out. Take that out. Don't ever replace that plug with a steel plug, because this is actually a backup for that pressure relief valve. If this would fail, it's actually going to blow that plug out. So they recommend you not putting extensions in there, drain valves, any of that stuff. Leave the nylon plug. And then we also do have a high temp fuse here. So if you ever have a problem with it not running, check that fuse. If you see it broke, replace it. That's for actually, if these flames would roll out, it will actually break that fuse. It's a safety valve, pretty much. All right. And again, on the water heater, don't lean anything up there, because that does get really hot again. Will melt anything you lean up against there. Coming to the front of the coach here. First compartment right outside your driver's, or your main walk-in door. We're going to lift up. All of our compartment doors are labeled with a Winnebago identification label. That label identifies that door, color on that door. All of our cupboard doors inside are labeled also. Pretty much any part Winnebago touches is usually going to have an identification sticker on it. That identification sticker is just a lot easier way for you to call in, get replacement parts without having to explain it. So in this first compartment, down the bottom here, we have a little slide port that does slide open. We can bring extension cords, coax cables, anything we need to plug in, because there is an exterior plug-in and an exterior coax hookup up above. But with that slide out port, make sure when you travel, that would close it. Otherwise you get a bunch of road debris up in this compartment, makes a mess. So Come down here, if we can look up high actually in this compartment. A couple things in here. So right here is our 1000-watt inverter. So 1000-watt inverter, I'll explain inside a little better, but there is a GFI plug-in on the front of that 1000-watt inverter. So if your inverter is not working, check the GFI plug-in because it might have tripped. Just push the button in the front, it will reset it. And then here to the right side, there is a 110 plug-in and a coax hookup that's already pre-wired for your antenna and your cable. All right, now on closing your doors, the main thing with your doors, I'm gonna push it closed, you'll hear it click. Always check both sides. They have latches on both sides. As you can see, the front side wasn't latched. Make sure you get both sides latched before you travel. Right here inside the door is our operation for our awning. So we simply have in and out for our awning here, and you're gonna hold the out until the flap drops and you get your LED lights in the right location. When you hold the in until the motor shuts off. That's what actually locks it against the coach. You do have a full LED strip lighting there in your tube. The reason you want to let go of that button on the way out is because this will roll up backwards if you keep going. So if you ever have the problem where your in button becomes your out button becomes the in button, you rolled it up backwards. So just bring it back out, let it run back in the right way. Also on your awnings, on the front side and back side, we have pitch control. So here on the side, there's a little silver button that you push. Push that silver button in, and then we can adjust the pitch. So if we adjust the front one, we're gonna pitch it to the front where the water's gonna roll off the front. We adjust the back one, we're gonna adjust the pitch to the back. So it's kind of a preference wherever you want the water to flow. Most people do it to the back because a lot of times they're walking out the front to their vehicles. Other thing, all preference. If you do set that, you don't have to reset it to the normal position. When we roll it in, it'll roll in a position. If you want to, you can reset it. Just push that button in and let it go back up. Okay. So moving back in the coach, tire-wise, we have 61 pounds of pressure in every tire, all the way around. If you do need to access the valve stems, on these models, they both go to the inside of the tire. So your front one points back, your back tire, or your inner dual points out. Easiest way to access that is get a screwdriver or something, and we're actually gonna pop the whole hubcap off. This is all just a decorative hubcap. Don't take any screws out, just literally pop it off. And then you'll need just a reverse truck checker to check both of those tire pressures. And then when you go to put this back on, force in the middle and usually a rubber mallet tapping it around will actually lock that back in place. Make sure you get that secured all the way because those do fall off if you go down the road if you don't have them on all the way. So coming back here, on this storage here, this is the storage that we have access from inside and we have access from the outside. So if we lift our bed up inside, we can access this storage. Same on the outside. There is an LED light right around the corner that does have a toggle switch right on it to turn it on and off. There also is a safety cable on this door. The safety cable is very important. If that ever breaks or falls off, put it back on because that's keeping this door from going too far and melting on the water heater pretty much. So be very careful on that door. All right, up here we do have a gravity fill. This is one way to fill our freshwater tank. We have two ways on this coach. This one's nice because if we're out dry camping and that stuff, we can literally use buckets, gallons of water, any of that stuff, just dump them in. Or you can just stick a hose in, fill it pretty much until the water comes squirting back out at you, or you hear the water coming out of the overflow underneath. So a compartment down below the water heater is your 3600 watt generator. This one is an LP generator. All we do is pull the two clicks, front comes off. All right, so on your generator, some of the basic maintenance stuff, keep up on, definitely oil changes. So every 50 hours of use, we're gonna do an oil change on the generator. The manufacturer wants you to exercise this generator at least 2 hours a month. With your generators, the more we run them, the better they're gonna run for you. So I mean, just get those hours on them. If you don't, you're probably gonna be bringing it to me and I'm gonna be going through it, getting it running for you. It just saves a lot of grief if you run it. We can start and stop it from out here. Pretty much we're gonna hold that prime button until you get a red light, and then you'll hold the start button until it starts. So make sure you hold the start button the whole time until it does fire up. Right beside that switch, there's a breaker that is right down here. It's just a single pole breaker. If your generator is running and you're plugged into the other side and it's not producing your power, come check that breaker. It could have tripped, and that's what actually feeds your coach the 110 volt, which is just right down there, and it is labeled right in the front here. That's a 30 amp breaker. And when you do your oil changes, just check your air filter. Make sure it's clean. If it's falling apart, any of that stuff, just replace it. It's got a little wing nut on the side here that just take loose and we'll pop off of there. All right, then when you're done, just put that back up. Clip those back in place. And back down to the door. Compartment behind the generator. So this is the one we call pretty much a wet compartment, because this is the one compartment that doesn't have carpet in it. So a lot of people put dirty stuff, small grills, wet stuff, you know, stuff that could actually affect the carpet and stain. Most people put those in here. All right, coming to the back of the coach. So we do got a full extension ladder that will get you on the roof. Roof is fully walkable on. If you do go up there, be very careful. If that roof is wet, icy, any of that stuff, it is extremely slippery. The weight rating on the ladder is 225 pounds. So if you're over that, get a different ladder, get on the roof. Back storage here is for your sewer hose. So the sewer hose that came with the coach is a 20-foot sewer hose, blue one. That's the only one that's going to fit in this compartment. So if you buy an aftermarket sewer hose, you're going to have to store it in one of your other storage compartments. That does go down into a little reservoir pretty much. So if there's any drippage, any of that stuff, it's actually going to run out the bottom. There's a drain in that compartment, not compartment, but reservoir. So in the back of the coach, we have 5,000 pounds of towing. We have 500 vertical on the tongue weight. Then we also have a 7-pin adapter here. Going up high is your camera. So that's your backup camera. Anytime we put the coach in reverse, that camera's going to come on, and it's going to come on with a one-way speaker. So if someone's backing you in, you can hear them from the front. You just can't talk back to them. You have to open your window or something, yell at them. If you want to change the pitch or anything, there is 2 screws on both sides. Just loosen those screws, and then you can adjust the pitch however you want to. All right. Move around to the side of the coach. So on this side of the coach is our electrical compartment and our water compartment. So our electrical compartment, you have 30 feet of your 30 amp cord. Way in the back of the electrical compartment is actually your cable hookup and your portable satellite dish hookup. A lot of people will put 25, 30 feet of coax on there just so they don't have to reach back and hook it up every time. Store it in here. Another good idea is always have a surge guard. You can have a hardwired one put in this compartment, or even if it's a portable one, just because, you know, any surges to this coach can do a lot of damage, thousands of dollars. It's going to save you a headache for, you know, a couple $100. Down the bottom here, you do have a flip port. So if you want to make this a little tighter, we flip that little rubber flap open, come up, and then we can lock these little red tabs in. Just makes it a little tighter so bigger animals, stuff like that, can't get in there. And then we have the ability to close this door, still with the cord running out. All right, when you travel though, make sure that rubber flap goes back on again for road debris getting up in this compartment. Right around the corner here, there is a plug-in right here. It's a 30 amp plug-in. What it is your generator feeds to this plug-in. So what we have to do if we want to use the generator, we have to bring our short cord back into this compartment and plug it into that outlet. So if you don't plug that short cord into that outlet, you're not going to get any power to the coach. Good habit to get into is every time we bring this cord, put it back away, just plug it in. So that means you don't have to pull over on the side of the road, jump out of your coach, come plug it in. So just plug it in all the time when you're not plugged into the shore power. On the left side here, water compartment. First of all, again, we have a slide port down the bottom where we can bring our water hose and everything through the bottom and still close the door again. There is a light up top that does have a toggle switch right on it. So starting on the bottom, we have 3 silver valves down here. The one on the right side is a low point drain. The one on the left side is a low point drain. The one in the middle is your freshwater tank drain. It's kind of deceiving how they're labeled, but if you can just remember the middle one, always your freshwater tank. Okay, above that is our city fill here. So what the city fill's for, if we have a pressurized source of water, that's where we're gonna hook the hose up. Then we're gonna shut our pump off because we don't need our water pump anymore. We'll just use the pressure from the hose. If you do wanna fill your tank, right up here there's a diverter valve. It's in normal operation when it's parallel. When it goes straight up and down, then that's in tank fill. So just fill your tank until you hear water pouring out of the overflow, you know you're full. When you're done filling your tank, make sure you always go back to normal operation. Otherwise, all it's gonna do is cycle in your tank. All right, to the left side here, you do have an outside shower, which on the top of the outside shower does have a shut off. This will shut all water flow off. And then we do have hot and cold on the exterior shower. We have a water pump switch right here. In this coach, there's 3 places to turn your water pump on and off. One is here by your outside shower, one's in your bathroom by your toilet, and the other one's on your one-place panel, which I'll show you when we go inside. So next is we have our gray dump here and our black dump here. Way underneath here is where we hook our sewer hose up. Just take that cap off, hook your sewer hose up, put it into the dump station. Then you're gonna come back up here and we're gonna pull the black first. Always get rid of your solids first. The gray water is a little bit cleaner, just helps rinse your hose out. Let it rinse out. Then you can also use your outside shower if you want to. Help rinse your hose, clean things up. And then when you're done dumping, you don't hear any more water coming out. Push those valves back in. Another thing you can get a clear elbow that goes down right before you hook your sewer hose up, which allows you to see when your tanks are empty. All right, one more thing in this compartment, way up high. Way up here is a winterizing valve. So if we're facing straight up like we are now, that's in winterize. What that pretty much is doing is turning the suction hose on here. So this is how we're getting our RV antifreeze into the coach. Take that cap off on top there. Then we'll put this hose into a jug of RV antifreeze. Then you turn your water pump on and you go to every faucet until you get this pink color coming out of every faucet. Once you do that, the whole coach is winterized. You're safe then. Make sure you definitely hit this outside one. That's one of the first ones that can freeze. All right. Behind that compartment, there's one door here. It actually is permanently mounted. Your gray tank sits behind there, so there's no storage, no nothing. If you ever need to access it, there is 4 screws underneath and this is hinged, but normally there's no need for you ever to get behind that panel. Room-wise, we use this Wintec mechanism. You have a track down low, you have a track up high. There's one 12-volt motor on this side and there's one 12-volt motor on that side that run this. Bring it straight in, straight out. They talk to each other, keep themselves in time. For lubrication of your room, we recommend a CRC is what is actually a slide room lubricant. And the main thing you want to lubricate, they're not so much worried about the track itself. There's a little gib inside here and then there's a roller underneath. Those are the 2 main things we want to hit, and that's on all of the tracks. And make sure if you're going to use anything else, make sure it's a dry Teflon or something that's not going to draw dust to those mechanisms. Because once we start drawing dust and dirt, they're going to run hard, start binding up, make it fail on you pretty much. So just keep an eye on them, make sure they're not getting all dirty and dusty. Your slide room do have awning toppers, which do automatically come in and out with the room. Really no maintenance. I mean, make sure every so often look up there, make sure sticks, something like that didn't get underneath that awning topper. But otherwise, just they pretty much take care of themselves. All right, coming down below our slide room. Compartment here and compartment here. So we got one big storage compartment here. Both of these compartment doors have safety cables on them. Again, very important. If this safety cable is not on here, this door is going to go up, sit right behind this room. You're going to smash your door. So if the room's in, you can actually come down and these do pop off if you do want to get that door up higher to access this. Make sure we always put those back on though. The last thing you want is a crushed door. All right, next door in front of the 2 compartment doors here is, there's a little black handle on the bottom. I'm gonna pull that, it's gonna pop open. It's our LP filling station. So this is our fill valve, 80% valve. Someone's gonna fill it for you. Gotta be licensed to fill it, or certified I should say. Right above that is an on-off switch. That's your master LP switch. So that will shut all LP off to the whole coach. You also have a secondary switch inside, so both switches have to be on to get any LP to the coach. If you just got it filled and for some reason you're not getting LP to any of your appliances, come out here and check this switch. They might have left it off when they filled your LP tank up. On this particular model, it's a 13-gallon LP tank, fillable to 80%, which roughly is going to give you right around that 10 gallons of LP. Usage is going to be based on what you have running. I mean, furnace, generator, and it all depends what you're going to have running for how much it's going to use. Front door here, your diesel tank is actually right beside your door. It is secure anytime the door's shut and your flap is shut. If you want to access it, open your door, flip open, close your door. So diesel tank is here, like I said, 26-gallon tank. Ultra low sulfur diesel is what we want to use, which is pretty much the only diesel you'll find anymore. You can use a max of a B5 biodiesel. Kind of a preference if you want to use that or not use it. All right, so here inside your driver's side door is all of your VIN numbers, serial numbers, tire pressures, weight of the coach. Down below that, your combined weight. So on your combined weight, this coach is actually rated for 1,338 pounds. And what that is figured in, or what you need to figure into that, is your people, your cargo, and your water weight. So you can have up to 1,338 pounds of those three things in this coach. In the front side of your door, you do have storage. Just quarter turns, pop open. There's a little bit of storage in both the passenger and the driver's door. A lot of people put diesel gloves, stuff like that in here, because you can only access this when the door's open. All right, the other thing in here is way down low, underneath the dash there, you'll see a little red push button. What that's for is that's a chassis battery disconnect, because your chassis battery is actually located underneath the driver's side floor here. And the sign right beside that disconnect says wait 10 minutes after shutting the engine down before you disconnect that. And that's just because we have computers, stuff like that in the engine that need to shut down before we disconnect the battery. And then all you have to do is push that red button in, pull it off the post. Hood release is actually right here around the corner. Just pull it towards you. And then right above that is actually your Mercedes fuses. So everything to do with the dash. There. And one more thing underneath here, underneath the driver's seat. Flip the flap open, flip open that. Some ATO fuses. Refer to your manual. Your manual will tell you what each one of these fuses do. And these are normal ATOs. The Mercedes ones up front are going to be mini ATO fuses. Always a good idea to carry extra on hand just in case anything goes wrong. All right, coming around to the front. Your hood release is actually always just left of the Mercedes side. Just put your hand under, push straight up. And we're just pushing this little release right there is all we're doing. We're going to lift it up till you hear a click. And then it latches itself. Okay, so under the hood, starting on the right side here, first container here, windshield washer fluid. Above that up here is going to be your brake fluid. Right here is a remote terminal. You're going to twist and push in. This is where we'd hook jumper cables up for if you need to jump someone or if they need to jump you. Positive goes here, negative goes right there on the sidewall. And that's just because we don't have access to the battery, so they give you a little remote terminal for that. Down below that, down here is actually going to be your power steering fluid. Has a dipstick right on it. And then down below that, kind of tucked in here, is going to be your oil filter. It's a cartridge oil filter. And again, refer to your manual. I'll tell you exactly what kind of filter and what kind of oil you need for this chassis. Oil fill is actually here. Oil dipstick is actually back behind it. You have engine coolant here. And then we have your DEF tank, diesel exhaust fluid. Very important. In this coach, it's a 3.4 gallon tank. And after you've used 2 gallons, you'll get a warning on your dash, which comes roughly around 3,500 miles. And that all depends too. Once that warning comes on your dash, after that warning, it'll give you 10 starts or 300 miles, whichever one comes first, and then it completely shuts you down. So make sure either you keep some on hand or you make sure you top this off after it goes down a ways. And what diesel exhaust fluid is, it's an urea that gets pumped into the exhaust that kills the carbon dioxide in your exhaust. Is why we don't have that black smoke coming out of the exhaust anymore. So just make sure you keep an eye on that. Let it go down a ways though. Go 2,000–3,000 miles before you top it off. And it does warn you on the front here. Make sure you don't dump the DEF in your engine coolant. Your engine will not like that. You do have an air filter here. This filters all the air coming into your cab. So if that gets dirty or that, just blow it out with an air hose. If it starts falling apart on you, just replace it. Don't use water on this filter. Over in the center here is your chassis air cleaner. Just have your service place. Check that whenever they're going to do oil changes or any of that stuff. Your oil changes will be every 20,000 miles on this chassis, or 2 years, whichever one comes first. You'll do your first one at 10,000 miles, or after the first year. And you can do it sooner. You don't have to wait that 2 years or that 20,000. If you want to get that oil out of there, get new oil in, go for it. Break-in period, 1,000 miles. The main thing with the break-in period is they want normal acceleration, normal deceleration. So pretty much they don't want you out there drag racing, slamming on the brakes. They want you to vary your speeds. Top speed doesn't matter, bottom speed doesn't matter. Just make sure you're varying it. Okay, also in the front of the coach, down low, little circle thing down low here. What that's for, if you push it, it ejects out of there. And actually in your toolkit underneath your passenger floor, there's a big eye bolt that screws in there. If we ever need to hook a chain to this and pull it, that's where we do it, because there's no good place to hook a chain to this on this fiberglass front. Do also have the step in the front for helping clean the windshield. And then when we're gonna put your hood down, you're gonna lift up a little bit, push it on this little clip on the side, and then come down with it and latch it. All right, coming around the passenger side. All right, on the passenger side, again, you have that storage down low. Under the passenger seat, if we lift that flap up again, open this up, we have some 12-volt breakers. And what those are gonna do is pop straight out on you. You're gonna push them straight back in to reset them. They're all labeled what these are here. Most of this, or all of this stuff is Winnebago stuff. Pretty much the steps, the awning. We double protect the main converter. But they're all labeled there. And actually behind that panel is going to be your main solenoids, your disconnect solenoids, and your boost solenoid for the front coach too. Down underneath the passenger floor there, you'll see a little wrench. That's where your jack is going to be, and your tire tools underneath there. Just quarter turn that whole floor pops up, and then you have access to that stuff. All right, so on the front of your door here, the bottom lock is going to be your main handle lock. That's the one that your key fob will unlock. So your Mercedes key fob will unlock the two front doors and also that bottom lock. Top lock is your deadbolt. That's strictly a key access. Key fob won't unlock that one. On the inside of your door, the one with the red handle here is your main handle lock. And again, that's the Mercedes key that will unlock that one. And then your deadbolt is strictly just turn it straight over and back. Do you have the screen that does just latch on your door? Just push in, latches there, just release it, close with it, and then you can slide that little port there to keep bugs and stuff like that out. Slide it back open, grab, close. All right, the other thing we have from the outside here is right here in front, got this little release. Just release that, give it a little tap down. Your batteries are actually located under here. You'll have two deep cycle marine batteries under there. We have this coach winterized right now, so there's no batteries in it. Main thing about your batteries is check your water level often. I mean, there's 6 battery cells per battery. Pop off the cap, check the water level, make sure it's up, make sure they're good, charged really good. All right, let's head inside the coach. Okay, the first thing we'll talk about inside the coach, we'll talk about the operation of your slides, things you need engaged for these slides to go in and out. So a couple safety switches are up front. You have handbrake down below your driver's seat there. You're just going to pull up. And then your other safety switch is going to be your ignition. Ignition has to be on. And they do that for a voltage drop reason. If you don't have your engine on, room will not come in and out at all. After you have the brake on, ignition on, then we'll come back here above your fridge, and the cabinet right above the fridge here. We're gonna lift up. Right here's our driver's side slide room control. Simply in and out. You're gonna hold the in until you hear the motor shut off. That's how you know you're all the way in. Same thing going out. You're gonna hold it till the motor shuts off. That's how you know you're all the way out. You can stop at any location, but technically you're only true sealed if you're all the way out or all the way in. All right. Some of the other things up here, we'll go through this stuff really quick. Up here is, over on the right side, you have your 1000-watt inverter. So 1000-watt inverter is not a big inverter, so don't try running hair dryers, hair blowers. A lot of that stuff is more wattage than this can handle. A lot of the stuff that runs off this is like your front TV. It's more for charging computers, charging cell phones, small appliances like that. But all you'll do is you'll push power, and again, I don't have the batteries in, so it's not going to come on. It'll come on if you're plugged in outside. That light right there will be green, and then the second I unplug, that light will sit here and turn yellow. So when that light is yellow, that means now we are using the inverter. Now we got to manage our batteries. Make sure we don't go too low on those batteries. If that light ever goes red, then there's either a problem with the inverter or your battery level is way too low. If you start getting into the 11s, you know, mid 11s, that start your engine, start the generator, get plugged in, get some power back into those batteries. Then once you do go to a yellow light on the inverter, you can use that select button there, and it will show you the input current and the output power. So just another way to help you manage batteries. Right above that is going to be, this first one here is going to be your holding tank heaters. So those are just 12-volt pads on the bottom of your black tank and gray tank. You get in freezing conditions, just turn it on. It's going to help them keep them thawed out, be able to actually dump your tanks then. Right beside that is your LP switch. So again, that's the secondary switch. Your masters outside, they both have to be on to get LP to the coach. Over on the left side, we have your one-place panel. Your one-place panel is where we get all our readouts for back here. And it's also where we start and stop our generator. So for starting your generator, you're going to actually hit the stop until it says that auto stop or stopped, and then hit start until it says auto start. What auto start is doing, it's priming your generator for you. Bringing a new LP in, doing a pre-start. It's about 15 seconds, and then your generator will automatically start for you. There is a meter at the bottom, meter button here, and then an hour meter right there at the bottom. And again, base your oil changes on the usage. It's 50 hours or once a year, whichever one comes first. And then, I can't stress it enough, make sure we exercise these generators, run them. They're there to be ran, run them. Alright, down below that is a battery button. So the battery button allows us to read our chassis batteries, our chassis battery, and our house batteries. So 12.4 to 12.7 is a normal battery reading. When you're plugged in, your house batteries are actually going to read, you know, mid-13s because we are being charged at all times when we're plugged in. Now tanks are going to show us our fresh water, LP gas, gray water, and black water. All of these go up by thirds besides the LP gas. That goes up by quarters. They want you a little more precise on how much LP gas you have on board. And right here is how we start and stop our water heater. We have an LP for the water heater, and then we have the electric for the water heater. We can run both at the same time. If we do run both at the same time, our recovery time is actually faster. It's about 10 to 15 minutes on the recovery time if we run both. If we run just LP, it's 20 to 25 minutes. Just electric is going to be, 30 to 35 minutes. So if you're going to do those back-to-back showers, probably just turn both of them on. Get the most heat out of that water heater you can possibly get. Next switch over is your pump switch. So that's the second place to turn your water pump on or off. And it will actually give you a readout right on top that says pump on, pump off. And no matter where I turn that on or off at, it doesn't matter. You don't have to turn it on here and turn it back off here. You can go outside and turn it on, or you can go in the bathroom and turn it on. Okay, we'll actually come over here into your slide out now. A couple things in your slide out. So we have full storage all the way up above. These are actually like positive pressure latches. The easiest way, thumb in the front and just roll your fingers down. And what I'm rolling is I'm just rolling this little latch right here. And it always helps put that thumb in the front. So again, full storage all the way across up here. Right in the middle, up underneath, there's one switch that shuts this LED strip lighting off that's underneath here. We do have the MCD shades, very nice shades. Nice and smooth down, nice and smooth up. Just let go, they'll come nice and smooth up. Windows are just typical slider windows. We can actually just flip that open, slide the window. The screen will slide with it also. Go back, push the clip up. All right, so the other thing we have is your Winnebago black bag. This is actually a really important and really nice feature that Winnebago does. First of all, always in the front, you will have a copy of your window stickers. On the one page, it's going to give you all your options right there. On the back side of that page, it will tell you all of your exterior heights, lengths, widths, and all of your tank sizes. Like your fuel's 26, fresh tank is 33, your holding tank for black is 34, gray is 40, and then again your LP is 13. Alright, so next manual back is actually going to be the operator's manual. What this is going to do is pretty much going to tell you exactly the stuff I'm telling you today, how to operate things in this coach, run things. Back here in section 11 of the operator's manual, we have a maintenance chart. So just a good reference to go to keep up on seals, batteries. It's going to tell you before each use, weekly, monthly, every 3 months, 6 months, yearly, or as necessary. But just a good reference to go to. Alright, the next manual will be the big one. Operator's manual, but it's the supplement. So the supplement is every manual for every single thing in this coach. So the manual that came with that microwave, they take it and they put it in binder form for you. Makes it a lot easier to find instead of having a bunch of random manuals laying in your bag. It's all subcategorized in the front, so whatever you're looking for, easy to find. And then, last but not least, you have your Mercedes chassis manual. So anything to do with the Mercedes chassis, refer to that manual. Another thing is, anything that happens with the chassis, you're going to take to a Mercedes dealer for warranty work. Anything that happens with the Winnebago side of it, you'll take to a Winnebago dealer. Alright. Okay, so in your dinette here, you do have storage under both sides. So if I actually lift those up, there is storage under both sides. You might wonder what that box is. That's actually controlling it has the mechanism in for your footrest here that lifts up and down. The other side has a little bit more because there actually is wiring that comes up a wire track on the other side. And then you also have storage under that back one. So for your footrest, we're gonna take your footrest, just pull up on it until you hear it latch in place. You can sit on that, it will support you. To release, you're gonna lift that bar up, and just let it go back down. Alright, making this into a bed. Easiest way to make this into a bed is we're going to remove these back cushions. One on this side, and then also remove the other cushion on this side. Just makes things go a lot smoother if we do this. Flip up this cushion on this side, and then we're going to do identical on this side. Okay, and then underneath your table, there's a tension latch under here. It's just righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. So crank it out left. Then we'll lift on your table. Okay. So table A, you'll just pop that out of there. You can store it under here, or you can store it wherever you want to. And then all we're going to do is there's a little channel here that we want to set it on. Gonna just slide it in there, just like that. And then what we'll do is come back down with the two outer cushions, and then those two back cushions that we took out are actually going to be your fillers for the middle. One there, and one there. So really easy to do, makes a pretty good sized bed. And now what we're going to do is just reverse it when we want to put this away. Take those cushions off again. Pull these side ones up. It will save you a lot of grief by pulling these side cushions up. Grab your table out. Nice. Table leg in. And then table back on, and then you can tighten up that bolt down there to make it tight so it's not moving on you. You can travel, or not travel, you can actually use it this way so everyone can use it, or we can actually flip it sideways, which gives you a little bit more room on both sides. Cushions back. Then you do have seat belts all the way around. And that. And then actually on the back side of this rear end of the dinette, there's actually a car seat tether down low here. So if we have a car seat in here, tether it there. You have to turn the table sideways or take the table down to fit a car seat. Up above, we have our convection oven. So convection oven, open up. It's actually using a normal electric element just like we would in an oven at home. The only difference is we're using fans, we're circulating that air, much smaller space. So the main thing to remember about a convection oven in here is it cooks 50% faster than your oven at home. So we're either going to adjust your times or we're going to adjust your temperatures. Alright, now how we're going to use the convection oven is right up here. You have your choices: convection, grill, or roaster. So we're going to push convection. All of your temperatures are right here on your numbers. So if you want 300, push 300, push start, and now as it preheats, these lights will start lighting up until you get to 300. Once you get to 300, open it up, put whatever you're going to cook in there, and set a time. Pretty easy to do. The grill is just pretty much like a 425 high broil. The roaster is going to be, again, your roaster. If you want to use the normal microwave, what it is, if we push stop and clear, anytime we push stop and clear, we're always in microwave mode until you select something different. But it's not type in and time in. If I push 1, it's 1 minute. If I push 2, 2 minutes. We can add 30 seconds at a time with keep pushing that start button. But this convection microwave oven does come with a rack that you do cook on. That rack needs to come out when we do use the microwave. The glass tray, the roller, can stay in when we use convection. Just make sure you take any of the steel stuff out when we use microwave. You can cook with any steel pans that you want to, like you would at home, as long as they fit in there. Okay, wardrobe. This particular model comes with your seat boosters for the front 2 seats when we rotate them. Get you up a little higher. You do have that 20-foot sewer hose. And then remotes and everything there. Up above we do have our hanger up here, which is for all your clothes. Alright. Coming closed. Down below that we have a speaker down here, which is part of your surround sound for back here. And then this one has a subwoofer built into it. Right beside that is an LP detector. So your liquid propane gas. It's on the floor because LP is heavier than air, 1.5 times, settles to the floor. There is a test button on it right here, really loud. This detector is hardwired into your coach batteries. So anytime coach batteries are on, this detector is always on. If that detector goes off, get out of your coach, leave the door open, go outside and shut your LP tank off, and then go to service department and figure out why that's going off. Pretty much only 2 reasons this would ever go off is malfunction of the sensor or you have a gas leak. So definitely go get it checked out. Alright. Back here you do have medicine cabinet up high here. Storage in here and then storage beside. All of our Winnebagos come with a free sample of AquaChem, which is a black tank deodorizer and sanitizer. Pretty much we use this anytime that we dump our tanks and we're ready to fill the next tank up. We'll put some kind of deodorizer or sanitizer down there, help break things down. Here we pretty much recommend that, like Porta-Packs is what we use. And it's almost like a dishwasher tablet. You just open your toilet, drop it down in there, Add about a gallon of water with it just to help start breaking it down. But you can use whatever you prefer. Up here we have a towel bar there. We have a 110 outlet down low, which is going to be protected with the GFI plug-in, which I'll show you in a second. Light switch controls the one light right above the sink. Faucet wise, you're going to pull out. Up is cold, down is warm. Push in to shut it off. You do also have your little sink plug at the bottom that plugs the sink off. Alright, down below that you do have more storage underneath the sink. Alright, bathroom door is just a push button. Push button opens up. Does have a couple bumpers here that protect it from hitting on there. In your bathroom, so right around the corner here, you have a water pump switch. So come in here, you go to the bathroom, forgot to turn the water on, they give you a water pump switch to turn that on. We have a towel bar up here, a robe. Towel bar back here. Then down below that, we have your toilet paper hanging bar down there. There's a 110 outlet down low right here, which again is protected with the GFI plug-in that we have in the coach. Your toilet is a porcelain toilet with plastic lid, and it is ran on a foot pedal right here to the right. So what it is, if I barely push that foot pedal down, my bowl is going to fill up to however much water I want in there. Fully push it down, drops it down into the black tank. So there's two things hooked up to your black tank, and that's this toilet, and then the bathroom sink just outside your door is black tank. Your shower is gray tank, and your kitchen sink are both gray tank. Your toilet also does have a cleaning sprayer here. Only way that cleaning sprayer runs is with the foot pedal down. Otherwise it won't do anything. Kind of a safety so we don't pinch it against the wall. Flood your coach. Okay. Shower door wise, matter of just grabbing it, and then we're going to come across, and it latches right on the trim. When you want to release it, we're going to push in, let go. So if you're on the inside, you're going to pull in on it instead of push. The door is mold resistant, mildew resistant, and it's self-cleaning as it goes in. There's squeegees that squeegee it off every time. In your shower wise, shower head. So on the front of your shower head, this will stop all water flow. This, you can change type of sprays that you want. This one's really important because we're limited with the amount of water that we have on board. So we have to take pretty much what they call a military shower. You're going to just rinse off, shut your water off. Put your soap on, rinse the soap off, shut your water off. You're trying to conserve as much water as you possibly can. And by using this, we just set our temperature once, and now we don't have to set it every time that we turn it on and off. Then you have your hot on left, cold on right. Storage above, a little bit of storage up there. Above is a drip bar. So that's for your like wet towels, wet shorts, stuff like that. Don't ever use this for a full clothes hanger. You put too much weight on this, you're going to break your clips, probably break your shower, so be cautious how much weight we put on that. Light switch for the bathroom is actually just right around the corner here, on off. The bathroom does have a heat vent and an AC vent in here, so we're still heating and cooling this area whenever the door's shut. Alright, above me is our exhaust fan. It's a crank up exhaust fan. We're just going to crank it up and then push button. And push button to shut it off. Make sure we always close these when we travel, because there's a good chance you'll rip that lid off if we don't close it. Can always put a max air cover over top of them if you want to, which then they can be open in the rain, going down the road, doesn't matter. Alright, coming outside the bathroom, in the bedroom area. So to start with, we have way back up in the right hand corner, there's a 110 outlet way up high. That 110 outlet is going to be on your inverter also. The main reason they give you that outlet, if you have a CPAP machine or any of that stuff, we can use that in the bedroom without having any power source to the coach or any shore power or generator running. Do have two reading lights above. They have toggle switches just right on the light itself, and then you can turn them wherever you want to. We do have your head lifts. You just can grab the tether, pull up. It's going to lock in whatever position. To reset, just go all the way up and go back down. Identical on the other side too. This back here is considered your emergency exit window. Just a big enough window, you'll slide it sideways, slide the screen out of the way. That's why we jump out if we have a fire, rollover, anything we need to get out that window with. Full storage all the way up above, all the way around. Also above me is a carbon monoxide detector. So carbon monoxide detector, you're gonna pull this little pin. Get that. So there's a little pin in the side there. If you don't pull that, you're not gonna get the carbon monoxide detector down. Pull that, twist, and then it takes just a 9-volt battery right here. If you see this little red flap, just pull that. Go back up, lock it in place, put that pin back in. Just a travel latch so it doesn't fall while you're traveling. There is a test button on that also. Test it often. Replace those batteries at least once a year. Okay, so around the corner here, you have your 12-volt TV up high here. So that's running strictly off your batteries. Don't need 110 source to run that TV. That's why they give you a disconnect down here. So that's how we control this TV. If I shut it off, I lose all power to this TV. The main reason they do that is because all TVs have computers, other things running, even though it's shut off. Can be a battery drain if you're out dry camping. Right beside that is the bedroom lights. Then we have the thermostat. A lot like a house thermostat, a couple things different. Auto and the on, strictly for AC. All you're doing when you turn it to the on position is turning the blower on all the time. When you're in auto, the blower only comes on when there's a call for AC. The low and the high, strictly for AC too. All you're doing is ramping that blower up a little bit, taking it from a low speed to a high speed. Then we have 3 settings: cool, gas heat, and electric heat. So cool, of course, is your AC. Your gas heat, which is the most efficient way to heat your coach, is your LP furnace, forced air furnace. Electric heat is your heat pump in your AC, which only works if it's 40 degrees or warmer outside. Once we get below 40, that won't do anything. It'll just blow cold air at you. So when you get in those freezing temperatures, make sure you use that gas heat. And then right above that, just temperature control up and down. Alright, so now the Norcold fridge. Freezer wise, you do have the drawer or the tray on the side that is removable. Same with the shelf up here is removable. Alright, same thing in here. We can remove, adjust any of these side shelves. They do have 2 of these, which just are helping keep things tight so they're not rocking around while you're traveling. Your shelves in here can be adjusted. All you gotta do is take this one screw out of each shelf and then you can move it and adjust it. Then it also comes with ice cube tray. Alright, and then the little black lever down at the bottom here is a travel latch. So we can put a lot of weight in this door. So they give you a travel latch on just a fridge door so it doesn't pop open while you're going down the road. Just close, snap that latch, now it can't come open. Make sure you take that off before you try ripping the door open. For your controls of the fridge, hold the power button to turn it on. Brings up the LED screen here. It's all touchscreen. So we have 4 options. You have auto, which is the A. If I push it again, that's strictly 110 volt power. That there is 12 volt battery. It's flashing at me right now because the only way 12 volt battery works is if the engine is running. So if you're going to use 12 volt to maintain going down the road, make sure you have your engine running when you switch it over. Next one over is LP gas. And we can go back 99% of the time you'll leave it in auto because what auto does, it goes from 110 volt and switches to LP gas automatically. So if you lose power in the middle of the night, this fridge will switch over to LP gas, keep everything cold. Over here is a temperature selector. 1 is your warmest, 5 is your coldest. I would say start at a 3 and then work your way up or down, whatever one you have to do. Next one over is a defroster. What the defroster is for is actually a defroster in this eyebrow, in these controls. And that's because every time I open the freezer and the fridge, I'm allowing moisture into this control. It just helps keep it dried out. So I would always leave that on. Only time I'd ever shut that off if I'm dry camping, trying to conserve power, any of that stuff. Absorption refrigerator, so you'll never hear any pumps running, you never hear any compressors. All we're using is ammonia and gravity. We're literally vaporizing the ammonia, let it rise to the top, and as it turns back into a liquid is where our cooling comes. So don't ever think you're going to hear any compressors, any of that, because there is none. Main thing about this fridge is we want to be as level as we can. The manual tells you need to be within 6 degrees right to left, 4 degrees front to back. And that's very important because what happens if we're out of level for too many days, we will literally burn this fridge up. So don't do that. Get as level as you can. If you got to use wheel links levelers, any kind of levelers, get it up level as possible. That or find the levelest site you can find. Okay, up above that we have storage. The latch is way on the left side. Big storage up above the stove top there. Alright, coming down for stovetop wise. Lift the glass tray up. Alright, how we use this, there's a little dot right here at the top. That's where we set everything to. So if I want a light, I'm going to turn this to light. So just line it up there, push down, and then spark until it lights. And hold down for about 3 more seconds. Same thing on the other side. Push, spark until it lights. After you get them lit, then you can go down to a simmer or up to that high flame. Then when you're done, just make sure you go back to off and off. And if you do use this a lot and it's hot, wait till it cools down before we bring down the glass top. It will break under too much heat. Alright, below that we have storage there, full extension drawers, ball bearing slides. If you ever need to remove one of these drawers for cleaning or anything, there is little tabs right here on the side. Left one needs to be up, right one needs to be down, and then it will pull right off that ball bearing slide. Again, full storage all the way down here, bigger drawers. One more down at the bottom. They are heavy duty latches to hold them in while you're traveling. Coming up to your TV. So again, positive pressure latch, just like any of the other cabinets. We're going to open that up. Gives us access to the back of the TV and to the storage up here. Storage up here is mostly for if you're going to have satellite receivers, going to have Blu-ray players, any of that stuff. This is where we put it. First thing up here is an HDMI port, which is pre-fed into the TV. So if you do want to hook a computer up or a satellite receiver or any of that, that's where we feed it to the TV from. Right beside that is a booster switch. There's a little button on it. That actually controls your king jack antenna. It gives it power. So if you don't have that button or that green light on, you're not going to have any over-the-air channels. You won't get any channels coming through the TV. Alright, right beside that is your satellite hookups. One's a rooftop satellite mount, and the other one is for a portable satellite. So if you do put one on the roof, that's where it's pre-fed to. Okay, the main thing for your TV, if you're going to use the king jack antenna, is again, make sure you have power to that booster switch with that little button. And then right over here, if I come back here, is your king jack antenna. It's no longer cranking it up, no longer cranking it down. All we're going to do is rotate. Little push button right there, and then we're just going to rotate right to left. And what you're trying to do is get as many blue lights as you can. That's your signal meter. Once you get as many blue lights by rotating as you can, then you're good. You do have an on-off button up here. All that does is shut these lights off. Your TV's still going to work, everything. Just gives you a disconnect for those lights, kind of bright at night. Attenuator, that actually dampens the signal down. So if you're by a big city and you're picking up too many channels, what we can do is take the signal and we can dampen it down so you're only picking up the strongest channels. 90% of the time you'll keep that maxed out because you're trying to find as many channels as you possibly can. So now once you set that and get as many blue lights as you can, we'll actually come to the TV. And all your buttons are located right underneath, or we can use the remote too. So the main thing once your TV's on is you want to make sure you are on the right input. So input wise, you want to make sure you're on TV. When I turn the DVD player on, the component will come up, but make sure you're on TV. Next thing you want to do is go into menu. In a menu, what we're going to do is go over here to channel, come down here to where it says auto channel scan, click on it, and then say scan the antenna for digital channels. It will find however many channels it can find, and it's all going to depend on where you are located at. If you're in a bunch of trees, stuff like that, you're probably not going to get a lot of channels. You're out in a little more open area, you'll get a lot more. But you have to do this every time you switch locations, and you'll have to do it to both TVs separately. So again, just go in that menu, do a channel search every time you switch locations. All right, so down below that, right up here, there's one more switch here, which turns on the LED light right above the sink, and then also the light above the stove. And then also right above the stove is there is another 110 volt plug-in right here. That one is hooked up to the GFI plug-in, and actually your GFI plug-in is located right underneath your fridge there. So the plug-in here does have the reset right on the front. So if that green light's not on, that means it's tripped out. Push that front one back in to reset it. Now we have power. So again, your bathroom plugins and your kitchen plugins, anytime we're within 6 feet of water, we're protecting it with a GFI plugin. Check that if you don't have power to those plugins. Other thing I have down here is I have my converter. So the converter just pops open on the side there, has all of my 110 breakers and all of my 12 volt fuses. Everything is labeled, and the size of fuse you need is also labeled there. Okay, coming back over to the sink wise. You have your toppers there. Those can just come off. In your sink, you do have your normal plugs in the bottom, just like you would have at home. Faucet rotates. Again, we're gonna pull out, down cold, up is hot. Push back in to shut it off. And we can go back on with those. Back on with those. Other thing we have is 4 switches here, over to the right side here. One on the top is going to be for your exhaust fan, which is actually right above my head here. That is, anytime we're cooking, any of that stuff, we want to either run that exhaust fan or crack a window open, just so we're not using all the air up in here, making a negative pressure. We don't want to do that. So either crack a window or run the exhaust fan. The other 3 are all light switches. So main light, backsplash, and then light above your sink. Okay. Coming down below your sink is really big storage. Huge storage under here. Other thing we have under here is we have a drinking water filter. Right now it has the winterizing plug in it. If you're ready to use it, we take that winterizing plug out. We'd put the normal filter back in there and then just flush some water through it to get it running. You're going to change that filter either once a year or based upon the taste and smell of your water, depending. If you run a lot of water through it, you'll probably have to change it more often. And you can always call us, we can ship that filter right to you. Alright. Close that. Okay, so now here around the corner. Okay, a couple things around the corner here. First switch over here is for your main lights as you walk in your living area. Next switch over is for your skylight. So you're just going to hold that switch the whole time until the motor shuts off. Now it's all the way up, and then same thing going down. Hold it the whole time until the motor shuts off. Okay, and then also up here on your skylight, you do have a pull-out privacy shade on the left side, and then on the right side we have a screen. And then there is one more button right there that you can open and shut it from here also. Okay, a couple other things we have down here. Alright, switch right beside that is actually for the LED lights on your bunk area way up in front. That's what that switch will do. Next switch over is your porch light LED switch, or LED outside. It also gives you a step light, which kind of reminds you that it's on, plus illuminates your step. Now coming down to the radio, DVD player, CD player. Okay, power buttons right here on the left. Bluetooth buttons right here. If we want to use Bluetooth, we're going to push it once. It's going to take us into Bluetooth mode. Then we're going to hold it. Now it's going to pair for 120 seconds. So go to your phone, go to your iPods, any of those connections that you're going to do to this. Put it in search mode, find this, and then just connect to it. If it ever asks you a password, it's always 4 zeros. And that's the same with the front our infotainment center too. Alright, we have an AM/FM selector there. Auxiliary port here. So if I push auxiliary, it says auxiliary in now. What we're actually doing, we are back feeding the TV through your surround sound. So if I put it on auxiliary in and I'm watching just over the air antenna, I can come down here, I can turn the volume up on the TV, and then backfeed it through all the surround sound speakers. DVD USB selector, so that you're toggling from DVDs to USBs. You either have to have something hooked up or a DVD in to do anything with that button. You have a menu button and an eject button for CDs or DVDs. We have a USB port and auxiliary in port. So this USB port is strictly an in feed. So it's not going to charge your phones, it's not going to charge any of that stuff. It's pretty much for, you know, streaming Netflix, flash drives, any of that kind of stuff to put in there. You have a mute button there, just mutes the system. Right here we have two different kinds of alarms. If I push it once, it becomes a sleep timer. You can set that for up to 60 minutes, and then this system shuts down after whatever you set it at. If I push it once and then hold it, now it becomes a normal alarm. You set it for whatever time you want to get up, and the radio will come back on at whatever volume you had it on before you shut it off. Now up here is your tuning, changing stations, hours and minutes. That's how we either set our clock or set our alarm. On the left side is our brightness. What that's for is this back screen. We can go all the way up to a 9, or we can go all the way down to nothing. So if I shut this off, all these lights still stay illuminated. That just helps that really bright one kind of dim down. Down below that, we have 3 speaker controls. So speaker A is actually going to be the 2 speakers above your dinette. Speaker B will be the 2 speakers above your driver and passenger seat. And then speaker C are going to be your exterior speakers if you got that as an option. Down below here are your audio, which is going to be your bass, your trebles, your fades, all that kind of stuff. We have our scans, and then we have our presets below that. If you want to set a preset, just hold that button on whatever station you're on, and it will set to that preset. Play, pause, stop, running your CD player or DVD, or you can use the remote that comes with it. Okay, a couple more switches down below that are, so this bottom one right here with the little red tab on it, that's actually a step control switch. So your main entry steps, if you put that to the on position, every time the door opens and closes, the steps are going to be in and out, in and out. If I take that to the off position, now the first time I open the door, the steps go out and they stay out. The nice thing is we do have a safety in the ignition, so anytime the ignition starts, these steps will be coming in. Only way you can possibly leave these steps out is drive down the road with this door open, and I think you probably noticed that. All right, and we already talked about your awning control there. And then right above that is your coach battery disconnect. So what that's for is disconnecting your 2 Deep Cycle Marine batteries back here. And pretty much the main reason for that, it would be the storage. If we're gonna store it, have a good charge on these batteries, make sure water level's good, hit that disconnect, and then there's no parasitic draws on those batteries. Same with the front one. If you go to store it, pull that disconnect. So next time you come to use your coach, you know the batteries are gonna be good. The one thing you have to look out for is if for some reason you see your battery level and it's not at that 13.5 when we're plugged in or somewhere around there, come check this disconnect, because more likely you bump this disconnect off, and that has to be on for your batteries to charge. Same thing going down the road. If you shut that off, you are not charging these batteries. So just make sure you have that on so you charge the batteries. Also on your main walk-in door here, you do have your privacy shade that just pulls down and then clips right down here on the bottom. This one we want to hold. It is spring loaded, so it will slam up on you. Okay, also your ladder for your bunk is located right beside the main walk-in door. It just has 2 clips up top that hold it in. Just pull it out. So the main thing about your ladder is, what we're gonna do on the bunk is we're gonna flip that up and over. Okay, so whenever we're putting this ladder on for upper, we have to be straight out. And then go straight onto the 2 clips, and then we can turn it down. And the main reason for that, that's what's actually gonna hold this to your bunk, so it can't pop off. And then when we take that out, we're gonna do the exact same thing. We're gonna come back out, and then pull it straight off to release it. Ladder goes back in for travel, just like that. That up. You do have 1 reading light up in the bunk area. Again, that has a toggle just right on it. We're turning that on and off. Curtains up there, slide side to side, and then you also have your big privacy curtain in the front that comes across. And that is where your other 2 speakers are located for your surround sound in the back area. So rotating your front seats. Okay. Driver's one. The most important thing about your driver's seat is that we have it all the way forward. The next thing is make sure you push your foot brake down. Your brake is still engaged. Only way to disengage that parking brake is by lifting, pushing that button in, and then down. Otherwise, it is just a folding parking brake so that seat can clear. The next thing is, and we have it strapped up right now, but this is the pull lever right here. You're gonna pull, and then that's gonna release it to turn around. It only latches in 2 places, either all the way forward or straight back. So if you do want to sit at an angle, you will be just free floating. And then this is also where that booster seat goes, just to kind of raise you up so your legs are kind of sitting in a better place. On your seat, on the side here, top one is for your backrest. Next one down is a pump. So either you're going to pump yourself up to raise you or pump down to lower it. And then the front one is to lift the front of your feet up and down. Then on the other side of the chair is your lumbar support. So that gives you a little bit of lumbar support there. Your armrest is adjustable. Just come all the way down. Click it to wherever you want to go, and then if you want to reset, just go all the way up. Come back down to reset it. But again, the main thing is bring these chairs all the way forward. You can, once you get to the back, you can bring it back as far as you want until you hit the steering wheel pretty much. But the main thing, that's how we clear the steering wheel and stuff, is by all the way forward. Alright, so up front here on the driver's side door, over here we have our window controls and then our mirror controls. So mirror wise, you're just controlling the big mirror outside, not the small blind spot mirror. And then you control right and left. Up on the dash here are your light controls. So you have daytime running lights, but we don't have automatic lights. So at night, remember, turn them on, shut them off. If we go all the way on with them and pull out on the handle, that is your fog lights. Then just push back in and shut them off when you're done with them. Little handle right here at the top of your steering wheel is your cruise control. So cruise control is always on. You're either going to push that down or up to set a cruise. Pull it towards you to resume. It says off. If you push back, it's just cancel. And then this is also SL and decel to go up and down. Next control below that is for your blinkers, your windshield wipers, brights and dims, and then your windshield washer fluid. You're just going to go push it towards the dash for brights, pull back for dims. Push all the way in on the handle for your windshield washer fluid. Front of your steering wheel, right side, you have all your hands-free calling settings, volume, answer a call, hang a call up. Left side, you have all your options in your dash to go through and check your trips, check your odometer, fuel range, all that stuff. Is this how we scroll through it. Bottom right side here, we're going to pull down that handle there, and that's what's going to give us the adjustment up and down, and then also out. Telescope's out about 2 inches. Just push it back up to latch it in place. Coming down here in the middle is way down underneath here, there is a 12 volt outlet. Pull that out, you have an adjustable cup holder, removable ashtray, and then also another 12 volt outlet there. Push back in to put that back in. Right up here we have 2 buttons. This one says radio power, and then above it says engine and house. What that is for is selecting which batteries we're running this infotainment center up here on. So if you switch to house, now we're using the 2 house batteries. We switch it to engine, now we're using the normal engine battery, so it works with your ignition. Battery boost, what that's for is if your chassis battery's ever dead, we can jump it off the 2 house batteries in the coach. Just hold that button in, turn your key over to jump start it, and then release that button. Shifting, it will shift exactly like it shows on the left side, and then once you get down to drive, you can paddle shift. Just hit that right or left to go down or up gears. In the middle here, we have our 4-way hazards right there. ASR is traction control. You have the option of shutting it off, which there's no point really too often to ever shut that off. Next is door locks. So that will lock all 3 doors or unlock all 3 doors. Coming up to your climate control, we set everything with that little white dial there. So if you want 72 degree air, set it at 72, and then you'll always have 72 degree air come out. There is no on-off switch on this either. It's either turn the fan up and get lights on the fan, system's on, turn it down, system's off. AC control there. That one there is circulating air just inside, not bringing any fresh air in from outside. Then you have all your vent selectors here. So whatever vent selection you want the air to come out of. A little defrost button there for just low defrost up here. This is the paper clip. So there's push back, put settings or paper under there. Now up on your infotainment center. Okay, we're gonna let it load up. Okay, so also in that menu, Sirius XM, Bluetooth, auxiliary ports. This auxiliary port's not used, and the iPod connector is not used anymore. So we'll start with your radio. You have your AM, FM selectors on the right or left side, tuning and seek in the middle, and then all your presets on the bottom. Going to menu, it is a DVD player, but anytime you put this into drive, it will not play. USB port is actually right here underneath that little flap. You have a USB and an auxiliary in. Sirius XM, if you're going to subscribe to that, right here's your radio ID number. So just give Sirius XM that radio ID number, and they usually ask for your coach serial number, and they should activate you. Bluetooth, again, if you want to pair your phone to this, just go down here to the right side, push new connection, put you in pairing, go on your phone, pair your phone to this system. And then you have the option of using your hands-free calling, and this is your microphone right here. So that's where you're projecting all your sound towards. Next one, auxiliary, is that auxiliary port there. And then we have one for Rag McNally. You also have a navigation button out here. So if I push navigation, we can push accept on that. So the first part is RV tools. Let's go in there. And then RV information. So if yours isn't set up already, make sure you set this up, because this is the part that's actually going to route you or put your RV in. And this will route you around bridges, stuff like that that you can't fit under or go over. It also has warnings. There's a bunch of warnings in here for like curves, hills, toll booths, state border lines, speed warnings. This is where we set up how far in advance we want it to warn us. Quick planner. What a quick planner is, if you just want to really quick put in from this city to this city, see how far it is, what the cost per mile is going to be without plugging it into your map. A road atlas just tells you a little bit about the state that you're in. Statehood, state capital, state birds, stuff like that. Tell rad is just feedback they want. So if the speed limit says 75 on the interstate and their system's saying 70, they just want that feedback so they can change it on their system. Checklist, maintenance, trails, and fuels. Exactly what it says. It has preset checklists in here, so campsite setup, campsite teardown, or you can customize your own checklist. Maintenance is pretty much just like a notebook. We can just keep maintenance records in here, notes about maintenance in here. Trails, we can do trails in here, so if you're somewhere, you can start a trail, go drive through a town, stop the trail, and then every time you come back to that town, you can repeat that trail if you want to. Fuel, you can keep track of all your fuel for the year, and then it actually gets really specific and asks you what shop you got it at, how much, how many gallons, odometer reading. So it gets really specific on how much gas you used and where you got it from. Okay, and then down at the bottom you have a converter and a calculator also there. Going back out, you can just go straight to the map if you just want to scroll through the map, or we have choose destination. So new locations, where you would type in a new location just like any other GPS. Address book is any saved ones you've had. History will be any of your past trips. Multi-stops, or you can set up quite a few stops and then it will take you one by one to each one of those stops. Points of interest. Points of interest is nice because you can do from my RV, city, my route, or my destination. And then it's going to tell you the nearest campground. And it's going to ask you what kind of campground you want. RV service is going to tell you the nearest dump station or the nearest dealer. Parking rest areas. Travel centers, Rad McNally editor's pick. So that's just preloaded ones, fishing hotspots, pet-friendly location, festivals, stuff like that. And then there's going to be other categories. So there's about 50 more in here. Just casinos, restaurants, kind of tells you where, or anything you're really looking for. All right. Okay, and then also on the left side here, we have a camera button. So at any point, you can bring up your rear view camera. You can drive down the road with this on, your radio will play over it, your navigation will come through over it. It's kind of nice to have because it works kind of as your rear view mirror. So just push that. This right here will turn on your one-way speaker. So it helps you hear behind you. And then favorite button, you can set whatever you want on this button. Right now it's Sirius XM. Otherwise you go into the settings and you can set whatever. If you want the camera on this or if you want your phone, whatever, you can set to that button. Silver button below, if you push it once, it mutes the system, and then if I hold it, it shuts the system down. Over here is your SD card. So you flip that open. Your maps ever became outdated, pull this SD card out, put it in your computer. In your manual it tells you which website to go to get your updates. Alright, so coming above, you have your window shades above. Just unvelcro, slides in the middle, same on that side. Make sure they come together true in the middle because it uses one little magnet here to hold them together. And then same with the ones on your door. Door ones, you're just going to release that velcro. Forward one comes forward, rear one goes back. Make sure they latch. And just make sure you put the velcro back on every time you're done using them, because just hold them in place so they're not popping open while you're traveling. Down below me here, you have your glove box, which does lock with the Mercedes key for that. Alright, I hope you got all the information you need about your motorhome. And if you need any more information about your motorhome, give us a call here at Lichtsinn Motors or email us.